Well, now after the big Tesla Cybertruck delivery event, let's review reactions from both a Wall Street analyst and from a long-term Tesla bull. So today we're going to review video from Gene Munster, an analyst with Deepwater Asset Management, getting his reaction. Plus, we're going to have Larry Goldberg here with us as well. He's a long-term Tesla bull, and he actually visited the factory. He was at the presentation, and he is just the perfect person for us to understand his views of what he took out and all the people he spoke to. Welcome, Larry. Thank you for joining me again.
Thank you, Herbert. Great to be here.
So let's go ahead and watch Gene Munster's reaction. It's always good to see the difference between a Wall Street analyst versus a long-term bull. How do we see it differently? Let's listen to Gene Munster's quick reaction to this, and then we'll get your feedback to it.
So they're displaying a price that's slightly lower than that, but consider it 99 and 100, call it, and 80,000 for the tri and dual motor. And then in 2025, the single motor rear-wheel drive will be available, and that's at 60,000. So across the board, 20 to 25% higher than I expected. And just as a point of comparison, best comparison we have is the Ford F-150 Lightning lineup, and they tend to be, each of their versions tend to be about $10,000 less than where Cybertruck is at. Now, not a fair comparison because Cybertruck is a superior truck. It's got range. It's about 15% longer, 15-20% longer, has more durable, better performance, all of that. But when it comes to buying pickup trucks, people are going to look at the F-150. They're going to look at the Cybertruck, and Cybertruck's going to be $10,000 more. So that was it related to pricing. Just a quick aside, the range ended up coming in slightly better than I thought. 330 on the high-end versions and 250 on the low-end version that will be available in 2025. So next topic is, what does all of this mean? And I think Tesla's doing the right thing by pricing this high. And the reason is that they know they can't produce a lot of these vehicles. I suspect in 2024, they'll be able to produce 35,000, which is enough that if they've got pre-orders of 1 million plus, we'll talk about that in a second, but they can price it higher to kind of capture the margin on the few vehicles that they'll be able to deliver. So makes sense that they're pricing it high, which gets me to, I think, the substance of my view here, which is that eventually pricing has to come down. If they want to gain market share, if they want this to be a real vehicle, they have to bring pricing down. If they don't, it's going to be the Model S or X all over again. And the light truck market's a big market. And so I think their ambitions are to eventually bring price down. I suspect that's probably going to be in a couple of years once they get production volumes up, which improve efficiencies that allow them not only to be able to lower the price, but also to meet the demand that's out there. So I think the message here really with the pricing is, don't expect much from Cybertruck over the next 2 to 3 years. And I think that 2026 is probably the year where it gets a little bit more exciting with maybe 250,000 deliveries at that point, well below what Model Y and 3 are this year at 900,000 vehicles. And so this is going to be a slow build around Cybertruck. And I think that we're probably going to see, as kind of part of all this dynamic, well, it's neither here nor there, but this 1 million plus pre-orders that they have, I think that probably reduces to below 500,000. I think people are going to want their $100 back. If you're curious, if 500,000 people cancel their pre-order, that's 50 million, 50 million, and they've got about 26 billion in the bank. So they can definitely afford the paying out the refunds, but I'm sure that a lot of that's going to be going on in the week ahead. So pressure point is price. It's higher than I thought. I don't think it's the real price longer term. I think that Cybertruck still has the ability long term to be an important part of Tesla's lineup and be kind of one of the top 3 vehicles in terms of units. I think this can be 500,000 greater long term, but they got to move that price down. It's just too much to hit the sweet spot of the market. As a programming note, over the next week, Deepwater
Okay, so thank you for that from Deepwater. So I'm going to share a little bit more facts, and then I want to get your opinion on that. But obviously, these Wall Street analysts, they're focusing on the price. It's too high. I thought it was very fair what he was saying, but this is from Sam Corris from ARK Invest, and he tweeted this out, and he's saying that the average transaction price for a full-size pickup is $66,000, and a full-size SUV $77,000. Or 78,000, and the all-wheel drive Cybertruck without the tax credit is at 79,990. This comes from Tesla Fan MTL. And here's the Cox Automotive table that showed the average prices and the changes over time for each of these different car segments. So they're pricing this basically at the same price as the Rivian and the others, not any cheaper. So a lot of the long-term investors were sad, were frustrated with that. Larry, tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, I think the price issue is the most immaterial issue of this whole project.
Nice.
There are 2 million, roughly 2 million pre-orders. Of the 2 million pre-orders, I would discount 1 million of them as being people who, ordered 5 or 7 or 10 trucks. There are 1 million serious buyers, and those 1 million serious buyers are not going to go away because they have to wait a year or 2 or 3. The Cybertruck is a unique vehicle. It is not a pickup truck. It's not an SUV. It is a unique vehicle. It's a vehicle for the ages. It's going to change a lot of things about manufacturing vehicles altogether. So people who buy the Cybertruck are not, quote, truck buyers. They're not, quote, your average buyer. They are, if you like, collectors, or they are, if you like, EV enthusiasts. But they understand that this is a unique vehicle, that this is a one of a kind, and we're going to see Tesla sell as many as they can actually manufacture, and that is the only issue to be considered. How many can they manufacture? Now, Gene goes ahead and talks about them being able to make a small amount of pittance, 50,000, 70,000 a year. I think the production line is a serious production line. It's focused on volume, real volume. I think Tesla are being very careful about what they're saying about their production capacity. That production line can clearly do 250,000 a year. Getting to that 250,000 a year, I think they have several bottlenecks, one of which is the 4680 and the rate at which they're able to ramp the 4680. We know that the ramp is going very rapidly right now. It's getting into that S-curve capability. We also know that there's a Mark II version of the battery coming out that will both have an increase in terms of its capacity, but also in terms of the cost. So I think we're going to see a very substantial evolution of this production capacity. Do more than 75, somewhere between 75 and 100,000 next year, and then definitely the 250,000 the following year, which is 1 year ahead of Gene's predictions. I doubt that there's going to be 1 million cancellations of the pre-orders. I think anybody who's got a pre-order for $100 is going to hang on to that pre-order as long as they can, as long as it takes, for the most part. So, and the one thing that keeps on happening with these analysts is they keep comparing the Cybertruck to this F-150 or that truck or the other. There's no comparison. The Cybertruck is in a class of its own. It's creating a new class of vehicle. And that class of vehicle, really, you can't, measure it against us. Now, at a point in time, collectors will disappear and you just got people buying cars. Well, there's a lot of unique features about the Cybertruck. Firstly, the interior feels like a car, I mean, it doesn't feel like a truck. It doesn't drive like a truck. It is the most amazing drive. I mean, I can't begin to tell you just how much more like a new kind of vehicle it feels. So I think that these analysts who are doing, the spreadsheet analysis, more power to them. Maybe they're right, but I don't think they're right. I think this is a whole new world.
I love it. I love your analysis. You were physically there in the factory. So one of the things that I think you just told me was when you saw the factory, I know Jeff Lutz is going to do a big show on this as well. You guys were there, you saw the factory, and he said that it was all robots making this Cybertruck. And the only thing that's missing or slowing them down is some parts are not available quite yet. What was your reaction to are they further ahead than we thought? We thought that they were still manually making these trucks.
Oh, no. Yeah. So there are a few problems that they have on the production line, one of which I understand, and this is the second hand, it's not first hand. Some of the finishing capabilities, like the chemical bath or the sprinkler system to clean the vehicle after it's complete, to give it an orderly finish. I believe that they're waiting for equipment there. There's some other equipment they're waiting for to automate the line better. But, I mean, this business about hand manufactured junk. I mean, it's absolute junk. And by the way, the fit and finish of the vehicles I saw were really good. I mean, as good as it gets. And honestly, that stainless steel, it's very impressive to see a car built of that kind of material. I mean, the DeLorean felt a little tinny. This does not. This is like solid as a rock. Amazing. Just amazing stuff.
Okay. That's to the near term. You're still saying 75 to 100,000 for 2024. Then they release the rear-wheel drive, which is going to be the cheaper, the most affordable version in 2025. Now the analysts are saying this, right? Just the bottom line. He said, first of all, just repeating what we've already said, which is Cybertruck is priced 20-25% higher than expected. That's likely not the long-term price. Eventually, they'll lower it to gain share. Bottom line, though, Cybertruck will be a side story for investors until 2025 or 2026. And you're saying, no, it's going to be, maybe by 2025, it's going to be no longer a side story at that point.
No. Yeah, it's going to be volume by 2025. I think what they're going to see is the demand for this truck is enormous. I think they're going to have to expand to a second production line, or they're going to have to expand the production of the first production line. I am a lot more optimistic about this truck than even Tesla are. I think it's going to have a huge demand. I've said earlier, this is not a standard truck. This is not an SUV. This is a class of its own. And there's going to be enormous demand for it. And I don't think the price is going to come down. I ordered the top trim,
time order,
and my price was 70, but now I'm going to pay 90. Well, frankly, the inflation and pricing expectations have changed, and so I don't understand why people believe they're going to have to start dropping the price. And the performance of the truck, far exceeds a truck performance. I mean, you saw the videos of it outperforming a F-350. I mean, outperforming an F-350. I don't know where these guys come from.
Right, but so obviously what matters for stock, anyways, right, is the perception of what came out after the presentation yesterday. What do investors believe?
Correction.
Okay.
What matters for the stock short term is perception.
I know you're correct, because I'm a product guy, I'm a company guy. I think that the company's killing it. I think the product's amazing. It will succeed, like you said. It's just that today, for anybody to get excited about the Cybertruck in terms of its ability to impact the stock, it's not going to happen right now because they're thinking it's priced too high. They're going to make low volumes for next year. Let's look at it next year. This is what you're hearing from investors like Gene and others. Is there some sort of thing that could happen? Because how do you think it's going to be received by the general public?
Sorry, I'm being, somebody wants to give me a go. Look, from the general public's perception, it is not going to move the stock at all in the short term. If anything, it's going to depress the stock in the short term. So again, like these other situations, I think we're seeing opportunity, just opportunity for stockholders.
Okay, looks like you're being called out there. So let's stop here. But that's a fantastic point. I mean, this is the difference between a long-term bull and an analyst. Thank you so much, Larry. Appreciate you. Follow him on X at Tesla Larry. Talk to you soon. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.